Hello, travelers. Grace here with Grace Meets Globe, your go-to source for expert travel tips and hacks that help you travel smarter. So, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Let's make sure your next flight is smooth and drama-free. Today, we're diving into something every traveler needs to know. Things that can actually get you kicked off a flight. I'm not talking about the obvious stuff like trying to open the emergency exit mid-flight. Believe it or not, there are some surprising things that can get you in hot water with the flight attendants. So if you're ready to make sure your next flight is smooth sailing, keep watching because we're about to dive into 7 shocking reasons why airlines might just give you the boot. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Let's start with the most obvious one, folks. Disruptive behavior. It's like being back in high school, but instead of detention, you get ejected from a metal tube at 30,000 feet. We've all seen them. The chatty Cathy on a 5-hour rant about her cat, Mr. Whiskers. Or the guy who decides the aisle is his personal karaoke stage. Look, I get it. Flying can be stressful, but there's a fine line between letting off some steam and becoming a human foghorn. Airlines have zero tolerance for folks who disturb the peace. So if you're thinking of having a full-blown meltdown because you didn't get the window seat, think again. Remember those flight attendants? They're not just there to serve you drinks and pretzels. They're also responsible for everyone's safety. And let me tell you, nothing screams safety hazard like a passenger who can't control themselves. So, keep your cool, folks. Take a deep breath, put on your headphones, and remember, it's just a few hours of your life. All right, let's talk about those saints in polyester uniforms, the flight attendants. These brave souls deal with more nonsense in a day than a kindergarten teacher on a sugar high. They're the ones who tell us to put our seats in the upright position, stow our tray tables, and, for heaven's sake, put on our own oxygen masks before helping others. Ignoring crew instructions is a surefire way to get yourself in hot water. Remember, these guys and gals are trained professionals who know a thing or two about keeping a plane in the air. So, when they tell you to do something, it's not because they're trying to ruin your day, it's because they're trying to keep you safe. And just like driving a car, if you don't follow the rules, you're gonna get pulled over. Only in this case, getting pulled over means getting escorted off the plane by a couple of burly security guards. All right, let's talk about everyone's favorite airport pastime, downing a few pre-flight cocktails. Now, I'm all for a little liquid courage to calm those pre-flight jitters, but there's a fine line between a relaxing drink and turning into a belligerent mess at 30,000 feet. Airlines have a zero-tolerance policy for drunk and disorderly conduct, and for good reason. The last thing anyone wants is a repeat of the mile-high meltdown of '09. So, if you're planning on hitting the airport bar before your flight, pace yourself. Those tiny bottles of booze might seem harmless, but they can sneak up on you faster than a screaming toddler in a confined space. And trust me, nobody wants to be that guy who gets cut off by the flight attendant. Remember, drinking at altitude is like drinking on an empty stomach. It hits you harder and faster. So, do yourself and your fellow passengers a favor and take it easy on the sauce. Chapter 4. Watch your language. Inappropriate language. Okay, let's talk about something we all learned in kindergarten. Using our words wisely. Words have power, people, especially at 30,000 feet. Airlines have a zero-tolerance policy for inappropriate language. And for good reason. Nobody wants to be subjected to offensive jokes, slurs, or a string of expletives that would make a sailor blush. It's like your mama always said, think before you speak. Words can hurt, and they can also get you kicked off a flight faster than you can say, I'm sorry. So, next time you're about to let loose with a colorful metaphor or a particularly biting remark, take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this worth missing my flight over? All right, let's talk about something a little less glamorous, personal hygiene. Look, we've all been there, rushing to the airport after a workout, battling jet lag, or maybe just having a bad hair day. But there's a big difference between being a little disheveled and being a biohazard. Airlines have the right to refuse service to passengers who are deemed too stinky for their britches. It's all about keeping the peace and, let's face it, the air fresh. Remember, you're sharing that confined space with hundreds of other people, so a little courtesy goes a long way. Think of it this way. Would you want to be stuck next to someone who smells like they haven't showered in a week and uses Axe body spray as a substitute for soap? Yeah, I didn't think so. So, do everyone a favor and practice basic hygiene. All right, animal lovers, this one's for you. Traveling with our furry friends can be a wonderful experience, but it can also be a recipe for disaster if you're not careful. Remember, not all creatures, great and small, are cut out for the friendly skies. Airlines have strict regulations about traveling with pets, and for good reason. Nobody wants to be stuck on a plane with a barking dog, a hissing cat, or a parrot who thinks it's auditioning for a pirate movie. Before you even think about bringing your furry, feathered, or scaled companion on board, do your research. Make sure you understand the airline's specific rules and regulations. And pack a travel bag for your pet with all the essentials: food, water, medication, and maybe a favorite toy or blanket to keep them calm and comfortable. All right, let's be honest. Who among us hasn't tried to cram a week's worth of clothes into a carry-on bag? We've all been there, trying to avoid those pesky baggage fees. But here's the thing, airlines have baggage policies for a reason, and those tiny overhead bins weren't designed to accommodate everyone's entire wardrobe. Now I get it. Packing light is an art form that few have mastered. But trust me, trying to sneak a suitcase the size of a small child onto a plane is not the way to do it. Not only will you get stopped at the gate, but you'll also become that person, the one everyone glares at as they struggle to cram their oversized luggage into an already overflowing bin. And remember those checked baggage fees that you're trying so desperately to avoid? They're nothing compared to the hefty fines you could face if you're caught with prohibited items in your luggage. So, do yourself and everyone else a favor and pack smart. Stick to the airline size and weight restrictions, leave the prohibited items at home, and maybe invest in a good set of packing cubes. So there you have it, folks. 7 shocking reasons why you might find yourself getting the boot from your next flight. Remember, flying is a privilege, not a right, and a little common sense and courtesy can go a long way. Be mindful of your fellow passengers, follow the rules, and try not to smell like you just finished a marathon in a cheese factory. Now, I want to hear from you. Tell me about your craziest airplane experiences in the comments below. Until then, happy travels. Subscribe for more travel tips.